All right, so today we're going to go ahead and go over converting between mass and moles. Okay, so we've done conversions before. It's going to be the exact same process, just using chemistry now. So let's first review a conversion so we kind of know what we're doing. And let's go ahead and review how to convert between 1 dozen. Let's say we're dealing with eggs, right? So let's say I have 36 dozens. And I already know that that's going to be, I already kind of know, I have an idea of how many eggs that would be, but I want to go ahead and convert. So let's go ahead and convert this. So if I want to convert this dozen, let's say I want to convert it into eggs, I'm going to go ahead and multiply. We always multiply, right, times some type of fraction, okay? I always put the unit that I want in the bottom. So if I want to get rid of dozens, then I put that in the bottom. Whatever unit I want would go on top. Okay, I get my numbers from my equivalent that I initially set up. So I know 1 dozen equals 12 eggs. So now I just multiply 36 times 12. So 36 times 12 would give me 432 eggs. So 432 eggs. Okay, so we've done these conversions. Again, this unit always has to be the same as this unit so they can cancel out and we're left with the units that we want. All right, so now let's go ahead and do a chemistry conversion. So I have this problem here. It's asking me to convert 24 grams of carbon into moles. So first I got to set up my equivalent. How many grams equal how many moles? Well, my periodic table always tells me the mass of 1 mole, right? Which in this case is 12.011. For these problems, I just want you to round to whole numbers. So we're just going to round to 12 grams to keep it simple. Okay, so the periodic table tells me that 1 mole of carbon equals 12 grams. Okay, so we're going to use this to do our conversion. So let's go ahead and I'm going to start here. So I have 24 grams of carbon, right? I'm going to multiply this times a conversion fraction. I have grams, but I want to turn it into moles. So I put grams in the bottom, moles on top. Okay, that's what I want. I want to figure out moles of carbon. I'll make sure you put that as well. Okay, so then I just take my numbers and I plug them in. Well, 12 goes here, right? So 12 goes there. 12 grams equal the top 1 mole. So the top and bottom are always going to be equal to each other. Grams cancel out, cancel out. I multiply the top. 24 times 1 divided by the bottom. 24 times 1 divided by 12 gives me 24 divided by 12. I can do that in my head, but I'll just show you guys. 24 divided by 12 gives me 2, right? So 2. My units that are left over are moles of carbon. Moles of carbon. Okay? So same way we've been doing conversions before. And if you think about it, it makes sense, right? Because if 12 grams equals 1 mole, then 24 grams would equal 2 moles of carbon. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and do another conversion here. It's very similar, but slightly more difficult. So in this example, we have 80 grams of NaCl, and we want to convert that into moles. So first we have to find the molar mass of this, which we've done before, right? So I know that 1 mole of NaCl equals whatever the molar mass is. So let's find the molar mass. And we'll use, again, whole numbers so we can make these calculations easy. So it's 35.43, so we'll just round this to 35. Okay, sodium is 22.9, so that'll be 23. So my mass here for sodium will be 35 plus 23. Okay. All right, so we go ahead and add that up. That's going to be 5 and 58 grams. So that's the mass of NaCl, which is just salt, table salt, right? All right. now I go through the same process that I did before. I take my number, I rewrite it, 80 grams times a fraction here, okay? All right, grams go on the bottom, moles of what I want moles of NaCl, so that goes on top. So moles of NaCl. Last of all, I take my numbers and I put them in here. 58 goes in the bottom because that's where grams is at. 1 mole on top. Grams cancel out, grams cancel out. I'm left with 80 times 1 divided by 58. That's going to give me 80 divided by 58. 1.37. Okay, we'll round out to the first decimal. So we'll round to 1. This rounds up 4. 1.4. And actually, nope, that's not correct, right? Because it's grams canceled out. We're left with moles. So 1.4 moles of NaCl. All right, so that's how you go from grams to moles. Now let's do the opposite. How do we go from moles to grams? Which is just going to be the opposite of it. So let's say I have 4 moles of nitrogen, and I want to figure out how many grams are in that, right? So now we're going from moles to grams. We still set up our equivalent here on the side, and it's the same thing. So we always use 1 mole. So 1 mole of nitrogen equals, and why do we use 1 mole? Because that's what the periodic table tells us. The periodic table tells us the mass of 1 mole. Well, in this case, it's 14.007. Again, round, so we can keep our calculation simple. That's just 14 grams. Okay, so 1 mole of nitrogen equals 14 grams. Let's go ahead and set up these problems. So take this number, rewrite it down here. So 4 moles of, you can't just put moles, you've got to be specific as to what it is. It's 4 moles of nitrogen. So units are very important. You've got to show units because when problems get more complicated, we're going to need to do that. Times a fraction, right, a conversion fraction. Take this, put it here. So moles, we want to get rid of, so I'm taking this whole thing, put it in the bottom. So 1 mole of nitrogen. I want grams, I'm take that whole thing, put it on top. 14 grams. This cancels because they are same. Whenever the same thing is across from each other, it cancels, right? Let me make that a little bit darker here. Cancel, cancel. All right, so that leaves me with 4 times 14 divided by 1. This is just 4 times 14. Gives you a whole number of 56. So my answer would be 56 grams of nitrogen. Okay, so 4 moles equals 56 grams. All right, one more conversion here. This conversion, same thing. We're converting from moles. So we're converting from moles to grams. So I have 8.5 moles of lithium oxide, and I want to convert that into grams. Okay. So first thing, set up my equivalent. 1 mole of Li2 lithium oxide equals how many grams? Well, let's figure that out here, right? Well, lithium, I have 2 lithium, and the molar mass of lithium is, if you look at our periodic table, 6.941. Let's round that. That's going to be 7. Okay, which would give me 2 times 7 would give me 14. Right? What about oxygen? Oxygen, I just have 1, and that's 15.99. 15.99. Well, we can just round out to 16. Right? Keep our calculation simple. 16. Add this up. That's going to give me 30 grams. Okay? 30 grams. All right, so now that I have my equivalent, I can go ahead and do my problem the same way I've always done conversions. So I start by writing down my whatever I'm starting with. So in this case, I have 8.5 moles of Li2. Li2 or lithium oxide, okay? Times my fraction. Again, I'm using this up here. So I use this up here. This goes in the bottom because I have moles here, right? So I go 1 mole of Li2O. This goes on top, 30 grams. I go ahead, I do the math, and let's see what we get. So we get 8.5 times 30 divided by 1. 8.5 times 30 gives us 255. It's a whole number. We don't have to worry about rounding to the first decimal. 255 grams. Okay, we know it's grams because moles cancel because they're across from each other. We're left with grams. That is my final answer. Okay, you could also be specific and say grams of Li2O. Okay, but if you leave it like that, that's fine as well.